Some legends don't just play the stage, they live on in the places they loved. In Nashville, Johnny Cash's story still echoes through the streets, stages, and a quiet hideaway cabin in the hills. Today, we're retracing his steps. We're taking you beyond Broadway's neon glow. From the famous Johnny Cash Museum downtown to a peaceful country cabin Cash once called his personal sanctuary. This is a road trip through the real Nashville story of the Man in Black. Though born in Arkansas, Johnny Cash made Nashville his home, recording some of his greatest hits here and living a life as raw and as rugged as his songs. From stardom to struggles, friendships to faith, this city cradled his story until the very end. About 40 minutes outside Nashville in Bon Aqua, you'll find a place Johnny Cash called the center of my universe. This is where he escaped the spotlight, wrote songs, and strummed his guitar on the porch. Today, it's Storytellers' Hideaway Farm and Museum, and it's open to fans.
In 1972, Johnny acquired this farm and this house without knowing that he had. There was actually 4 properties that was bought by his accountant without Johnny knowing it. And when Johnny found out, he fired his accountant. He didn't press charges, but he did fire him. And he visited all 4 of the properties. The other 3 he sold. But when he came out here and saw this place, he was like, no, I'm keeping this.
I don't blame him.
It's 107 acres, and the house itself was built in 1837 by the Weems family. And this quickly became, he's quoted as saying, this is the center of my universe. And this is where he would come as a hideaway. This is where, when he and June would come off the road to their house in Hendersonville, she would take off. They said that June had a black belt in shopping. And so when she would go off shopping, Johnny would come out here and he could just be himself. This was a place where, there was no record deals out here. There was no photography. Nobody was trying to get a piece of him. This is where he could just be himself.
Sorry, we like to tell people that when you go to the Johnny Cash Museum in downtown Nashville, an amazing place to go, definitely worth the visit. But you get to meet the Man in Black, the Johnny Cash, the legend, the myth, the icon. Mm-hmm. When you come out here, you get to meet John, the local who was a country boy who preferred walking barefooted down the road to the store to get him an RC Cola and a bag of peanuts and sit on the porch and watch the storms roll in. That's who you get to meet out here. Yes. The heart of the man. And we really enjoy being able to tell the stories that we get to tell on a daily basis to the visitors that come from all over the world.
Mm-hmm. So of all the pieces in here, back to Johnny.
Yes.
Of all the pieces in here, what are each of your favorite?
I think mine is the recliner.
That recliner is comfortable. Yeah.
Very, very comfortable.
That recliner is comfortable. I think I could climb that recliner myself.
Yeah.
Yes. I think because I had a favorite uncle who was a gearhead, my favorite has to be the One Piece at a Time car because
I think that's what I would pick too.
It's so iconic, It is built to the specifications of the song, and the gentleman. Do you want to tell that?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're familiar with the song "One Piece at a Time."
Singing
If
it
you
in my
don't,
head.
if you never heard the song, then go listen to the song because it makes sense. But when that song came out in 1975, a guy by the name of Wayne Kemp, I believe it was, that check me, make sure I'm telling the right name. Wayne Kemp wrote that song. It was actually Johnny's last big hit as a solo artist. Now later he went on with the Highwaymen. Mm-hmm. But when that song came out in 1975. A millionaire down in Tulsa, Oklahoma, heard that song, and his name is Bill Patch, and he had a team to build a Cadillac, to the exact specifications of the
Yeah.
lyrics of that song. It was a special project that he had done.
And I like to say
Yeah.
he heard the song and was like, challenge accepted.
And so,
And what a challenge it would have been, right?
Yes.
right. And so he brought it up to Johnny. He had never met Johnny Cash. Johnny thought it was a prank or thought it was a joke. But he did bring it to Johnny. And he, through the years, Johnny had it. He would drive it and ended up in a museum. And then Mr. Brian and Miss Sally was able to purchase it and bring it here. And this is its permanent home. We're so glad that the One Piece at a Time car is here.
Right, and it is incredible to see because they like had to cut the hood. You can see where they had to cut everything. I really got to looking at it tonight. I didn't look at it as much yesterday, but I really got to look at it tonight, and you can see how they had to customize every detail to get that all fit together.
And just the soldering and the welding on that thing is just so intricate and
Yeah.
delicate.
Right.
You can't even tell sometimes where some of the lines are. It's amazing.
This story comes from my friend, which is Mark Allen Cash, and Mark Allen is Johnny's nephew. Mark's dad was Tommy Cash, Johnny's brother, who just recently passed away back in September. But Mark is a great guy, and he's full of stories. If you ever get to
Full
sit
of
down
Uncle
and
Johnny stories.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So anyway, the story that he told me was that one of the times that June went on her shopping sprees or went out of town, instead of coming out here, Johnny stayed at his home in Hendersonville. And after June left, he called his brother Tommy up and says, "Hey, June's out of town. I want you to take me to the Walmart. Not to Walmart, but to the Walmart." And
The Walmarts.
so when Mark was there when his dad got the call, so he just went with him. And he said that when he got there at his uncle's house, the place was full of all of these boxes, because that was about the time that Johnny had done an episode of The Simpsons. He did a voice for, I think, a coyote or a wolf or something like that. But to say thank you, they sent him a bunch of merchandise, T-shirts, hats and tennis
All kinds of
shoes
fun
and
stuff.
yeah, all kind of stuff. So when Mark and his dad show up, here comes his Uncle Johnny going incognito. He comes out wearing a bright colored Simpsons shirt, a bright colored Simpsons hat, Simpsons tennis shoes, and sunshades. He's incognito.
Not a neon sign pointing at him at
Right.
all.
No.
I probably walked right past him though, honestly.
Well, so he goes into the Walmart, and as soon as he walks in, everybody recognizes this is Johnny Cash wearing a bright colored Simpsons shirt, bright colored Simpsons hat, sunshades. And he makes his way all the way to the ice cream section, and he gets out 4 cartons of Bluebell ice cream. And he loved Bluebell, man of my own heart. Well, his brother Tommy says, "Really, John? 4?" He goes, "Well, June's going to be gone 4 days." So anyway, he goes up to the counter, and when he pays for it, the cashier, she's all nervous and everything. This is, Mr. Johnny Cash, and he makes her feel a little more ease. He says, "Don't worry, ma'am, I'm going to pay you in cash." And everybody kind of snickers. Well, when he turns around to leave out, there's a crowd of people that have all heard that Johnny Cash was in the store. So he takes his bags of ice cream over to the ice bin, and where they keep the bags of ice, and he puts it in there, closes the door, and turns around. And for the next 3.5 hours,
Wow.
he signed autographs, he took pictures with people, he listened to their stories, he just loved on people. Okay, so after 3.5 hours, he finally caught a break. So he grabs his ice cream, they head out the door, and when they get to the car, they're driving out of the parking lot. Mark said that his Uncle Johnny said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, stop, stop." There was a homeless guy that was sitting on the curb right outside the entrance. So his brother says, "You, they're going to mob you if you." He said, "I don't care. Whatever." So he gets out, and he said that he saw his Uncle Johnny sit down beside this homeless man, and it's not long he put his arm around him and began to pray for him. And when he got finished, he stood up and he reached in his pocket and he pulled out a wad of cash and put it in the homeless man's hand. When he got back in the car, his brother says, "Why would you do that? How much money was that?" And he said, I don't even know." He said, "You know that he may just buy drugs with that or alcohol." And he said his Uncle Johnny said, "I don't care. As long as it gets him through one more night, I've done my job." Yeah.
So, in these dishes.
Yeah.
Speaking of artifacts.
So, all right. So we know, according to the painting in there, the Johnny's three loves was, you remember,
Yeah.
June, music, and the Bible. In addition to that, he loved, according to this picture up here in the kitchen, he loved sweets and he loved people. Okay, but one of the things he did not love was washing dishes. When they renovated this place out here in the yard, I am told that they found these pieces and many, many more of broken plates and bowls. They found forks and spoons and knives.
Cups and glasses and saucers.
Because when Johnny was out here, he did not like to wash dishes, so he would just chunk them out the door. And that's where those came from.
That's hilarious. These were nice. These were nice dishes for the time too.
Yeah. Did you film the bullet holes?
Yes.
Okay. So the story on behind that is that most of the time when Johnny would come out by himself, but every now and then his daughters would come with him, and one of those times, Cindy, his third daughter, came. And the story that was told to us was she had brought a little .22 pistol, had been outside shooting, and she comes inside. Her dad is sitting in the room in there, and he said, "Let me see that thing." So she hands her dad the gun, and he just goes, "Pow, pow, pow, pow." And he handed her the gun, and he says, "Now, you match my bullet holes, and let's see who can shoot in the straightest line." And that's where those bullet holes came. So we just invite everybody to come on out and see us. We'll
Well
show
worth
you
the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We'll tell
I
you
hope
these
so.
stories and some more. And
As Johnny talked with his Bon Aqua neighbors, many told him they would love to go to his concerts, but simply couldn't afford to. This bothered Johnny so much that he purchased a rundown building in town that he renovated and opened as Storytellers. Here, on Saturday nights, Johnny and his friends would play for his neighbors. And still today, if you go to a show, there's no telling who you might see take the stage. Tucked just off Broadway, the Johnny Cash Museum is packed with personal letters, guitars, stage outfits, and rare videos. Here's where you'll find the real story behind the man behind the legend. No Cash story is complete without the Ryman Auditorium, where he raised hell and made history, and the House of Cash, once his personal office and recording space in Hendersonville. A few miles away, Johnny and June now rest side by side at Hendersonville Memory Gardens. Simple markers for a pair who changed the sound of American music forever. Many visitors leave guitar picks, notes, or flowers. A quiet thank you for their music. Johnny Cash wasn't just a star. He was a voice for the outsiders, the sinners, and the faithful. And in Nashville, his story still sings. If you're planning a trip here, these stops are more than landmarks. They're chapters of a very human story. If you enjoyed this look at Johnny Cash's Nashville, hit that like button, subscribe for more travel stories, and drop your favorite Cash song in the comments below.
It's not something that's highlighted. Most people don't know. And we actually have a letter here that Johnny wrote to Word Nashville. And so he says, I appreciate receiving the Canaan Word Nashville radio report. I would like to keep abreast of what is happening in the world of gospel music, and especially where I might fit in. And your comment, some are slow to add Johnny because of lack of knowledge of his stand with the Lord, was very disturbing to me. I was converted and became a Christian at the age of 12. I made public profession of my faith time and again on network television since 1970. Are some of these DJs so new that they only believe what they see recently in the National Examiner and the National Enquirer? What do I have to do to make my witness effective? He was very concerned with the fact that his witness was overshadowed by his earlier years. And he really wanted to make it known that he was no longer the man that he used to be. As a matter of fact, we have some chairs here that stand in testimony to that particular thing, because they are the chairs that were prominent for Waylon Jennings' 1-year sobriety anniversary. And so Johnny and June threw him a sobriety party in Hendersonville. There was no drugs, no alcohol, no nothing allowed. They had sweet tea and Dr. Pepper probably, and they celebrated the fact that this man was able to overcome addictions. And that's who he became toward the end of his life. Not only did he steer himself in a direction, but he also helped steer his friends in that same direction.
Mm-hmm.
So.